All right, so we're diving into the world of ICT change and configuration managers today.
Yeah, it's a pretty hot field right now.
It is, and we've got some really cool resources from RoleCatcher to kind of guide us through this deep dive.
Really fantastic resources. I mean, if you're thinking about going for this kind of role,
Yeah.
you really want to pay attention.
Absolutely.
hmm
So to kind of set the stage, what exactly does an ICT change and configuration manager do?
So it's a little more than just managing databases.
Okay.
You're kind of like the air traffic controller for a company's entire IT system.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you're making sure that all these changes are implemented smoothly, efficiently, everything's running, without a hitch.
So minimizing risk as much as possible.
Exactly, minimizing risk. And there are some pretty big, salaries that go along with this kind of responsibility.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like a pretty important role. So what's the salary range looking like?
We're talking like 70,000 to 100,000 a year.
Okay, all right, so not bad.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
So we've established this role is a big deal. We've got RoleCatcher to guide us through this deep dive, and I'm ready to get into the interview prep.
All right, let's do it.
Where do we start?
Well, before we jump into the questions, you got to have the foundation, right?
Okay.
So let's take a look at the career guide from RoleCatcher.
Okay.
And they really emphasize the importance of both technical and soft skills.
Yeah, you need that blend.
You need that blend, right? Because it's not just about the tech, it's about working with people,
Yeah.
communicating, effectively solving problems creatively.
So it's like a tech-savvy diplomat.
Yeah, I like that.
So how do we showcase all of that in an interview?
All right, well, let's get into some of those questions.
Yeah.
And I think a classic one to start off with is, what motivated you to pursue a career in ICT change and configuration management?
Right, so they're trying to kind of get a sense of your why.
Exactly. They want to see your passion.
Okay.
This is not the time to give some generic answer.
No, I like computers.
No. They want to see that you're genuinely excited about this field.
So dig deep.
Dig deep. And, think about what truly excites you about this work.
Okay.
Is it the problem-solving aspect?
Mm-hmm.
The opportunity to work with cutting-edge tech?
Yeah.
The impact you can have on an organization's success?
Right, because you are kind of the backbone.
You are the backbone, and, here's where RoleCatcher's AI can come in handy.
Okay,
So by analyzing the specific job description you're going for,
Mhm.
it can actually suggest, what aspects of your experience to highlight
Oh, wow.
to make sure your answer is tailored and impactful.
That's really cool. So you're not just going in blind. You actually have kind of a roadmap.
You have a roadmap. You
Yeah.
have a personalized roadmap.
Okay, I love that. All right, so you've nailed that first question. What kind of follow-up should you anticipate?
Okay, so they might dig a little deeper into your experience with configuration management databases, or CMDBs for short.
Okay, so getting a little more technical here.
Yeah, a little bit technical. So they might ask something like, can you elaborate on your experience with CMDBs?
Okay, so time to show off those database skills.
Exactly. Be prepared to discuss your experience with specific tools and systems like ServiceNow or Jira.
So you need to know what you're talking about.
Know what you're talking about. And don't just name drop.
Right.
Briefly explain, their key functionalities and how they're used in change management.
Okay.
And if you have relevant certifications, like the Configuration Management Database Professional Certification, definitely mention that.
Yeah, that's huge, right?
That's huge.
Certifications always look good.
Always look good.
Okay, so even if you don't have a ton of experience with CMDBs, you should still try and highlight any transferable skills.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you have experience with database management or data analysis, definitely bring that up.
Okay, so it's kind of like reframing your skill set to match what they're looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, honesty is key. If you don't have a ton of experience in that specific area, acknowledge your limitations, but emphasize your eagerness to learn and showcase any relevant skills that you've picked up in other areas.
That's great advice. And again, you can use RoleCatcher's AI to kind of practice your answer and get feedback on how to best present those skills.
Exactly. You've got that AI coach in your pocket.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to another question that seems pretty crucial for this role.
Okay.
How do you ensure that changes to the IT infrastructure are properly documented and communicated to all stakeholders?
Oh, this is a good one. This is where things can really go south if not handled correctly.
Yeah, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It can be. So this question is really assessing your approach to change management and communication.
Okay.
So the interviewer wants to understand your process for documenting changes, assessing risks, and keeping everyone informed.
It's about being thorough.
Thorough and collaborative. So what are some key points that you want to hit in your response?
I think it's really important to demonstrate a structured and organized approach.
Okay.
So you can outline, a step-by-step process,
Mm-hmm.
starting with identifying and documenting the change,
Okay.
conducting a risk assessment, and then finally communicating clearly to stakeholders through, the appropriate channels.
And don't forget to mention the tools and systems you use.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, email team meetings, dedicated change management platforms, all that good stuff.
So really paint a clear picture of your process and highlight those tech tools.
Exactly. Make it easy for them to see you in action.
I like that. Okay. What if they follow up with something like, can you give me a specific example of a time you had to communicate a complex technical change to non-technical stakeholders?
Ooh, good follow-up.
Right.
Because now they're looking for evidence of your communication skills.
Yeah.
So think of a specific scenario where you had to break down a complex technical concept.
Into something that's easily understandable for, someone who might not be a tech wizard.
So it's all about tailoring your communication style to your audience.
Yes. Adapt.
Seems like that's a recurring theme in this role.
It is.
All right, let's tackle another question that sounds pretty intense.
Okay, hit me.
How do you ensure that all changes to the IT infrastructure are properly tested and validated before implementation?
Oh, this is high stakes.
This is a big one.
One mistake here could have major consequences.
Right. So they really want to make sure that you understand the importance of thorough testing to prevent any potential disasters.
Absolutely. So what kind of details would really impress the interviewer here?
Okay, so a strong answer is going to focus on a multi-layered testing approach.
Okay.
So talk about having a dedicated testing environment, creating comprehensive test cases, covering different scenarios, and involving relevant stakeholders in the testing process to ensure, comprehensive validation.
Right, so it's a team effort. We're aiming for 0 surprises when those changes go live.
Right, so being proactive and minimizing risks.
Exactly.
What if they follow up with, describe a time you had to deal with a failed test? What steps did you take to identify the issue and prevent it from happening again?
Ooh, love this follow-up. This is where you get to showcase those problem-solving skills.
Yeah.
So be prepared to walk them through your troubleshooting process. Did you analyze logs, collaborate with developers, implement additional test cases?
Right.
It's all about demonstrating your ability to learn from mistakes and improve your processes.
Okay, so far we've covered some pretty intense technical questions.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that this role requires more than just technical expertise. What about the human element?
You are absolutely right.
Yeah.
ICT change and configuration management is as much about people as it is about technology.
Right.
You're going to be interacting with stakeholders from all levels of the organization.
Right.
From technical teams to business leaders.
Okay, so strong communication and interpersonal skills are essential.
Essential, especially when it comes to managing, those inevitable conflicts.
Right, because not everyone's going to agree with the changes that you're proposing.
Exactly.
What kind of question might they ask to kind of assess that?
Okay, so a common one is, how do you manage conflicts and disagreements with stakeholders when implementing changes to the IT infrastructure?
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, they're really looking for your ability to navigate, sensitive situations diplomatically and find solutions that satisfy everyone involved.
So you got to be a mediator, a negotiator, a peacemaker.
You got to wear many hats.
Okay, so what's the key to answering this question effectively?
Emphasize your ability to listen actively, understand different perspectives, and facilitate open communication.
Yep.
It's not about imposing your will.
Right.
It's about finding a collaborative solution.
Right, so finding that middle ground.
Exactly. And remember, a concrete example always helps.
Right.
So think of a time when you successfully navigated a conflict. Highlight your approach and the positive outcome that was achieved.
Show them you're a problem solver, not a problem creator.
I like that.
What if they follow up with something like, tell me about a time you had to say no to a stakeholder. How did you handle that?
Oh, that's a great follow-up.
It is?
Because now they're interested in your ability to set boundaries and manage expectations.
Okay.
So be prepared to share an example where you had to decline a request,
Okay.
explaining your reasoning clearly and respectfully. Maybe it was due to a conflict with, existing priorities, a lack of resources, or a potential risk to the system's stability.
Okay, so saying no strategically and professionally.
You got it.
All right, let's shift gears a bit and talk about compliance.
Okay.
This seems like a critical aspect of this role,
It is.
especially with all the regulations and standards surrounding data security and privacy.
Absolutely. They might ask something like, how do you ensure that all changes to the IT infrastructure comply with relevant regulations and standards?
Okay, so this is where you got to show off those compliance chops.
Yes, Def.
What should we keep in mind when we're answering this one?
First, you want to showcase your knowledge of, industry-specific regulations and standards.
Okay.
So mention frameworks like ITIL, which stands for Information Technology Infrastructure Library, or specific security standards like ISO 27001.
Okay.
Then explain your process for staying updated
Right.
on evolving compliance requirements.
Yeah, because those change all the time.
They do. So do you attend workshops, subscribe to industry publications, participate in, relevant online communities?
So really show them that you're proactive about staying informed.
Exactly. Be in the know.
I like it.
Okay.
Okay, what if they follow up with, can you give me an example of a time you had to implement a change that required significant compliance considerations?
Okay, so this is your chance to share a specific example where you had to navigate those complex compliance requirements.
Okay.
Maybe it was a system upgrade that involved handling sensitive customer data or implementing new security protocols to meet, those industry standards. Walk them through your process, highlighting the steps you took to ensure compliance, every step of the way.
Okay, so really show them how you dot your I's and cross your T's.
Absolutely. Leave no room for doubt.
All right, so far we've covered a lot of ground on the technical and compliance aspects of this role.
Yeah.
But the RoleCatcher Career Guide also mentions some interesting career paths for ICT change and configuration managers.
It does. It does.
But I kind of want to talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, let's explore that.
So what can people expect in terms of career growth if they go down this path?
So this role offers fantastic opportunities for growth. I mean, one path is to move into senior management roles within the IT department.
Okay.
So as you gain experience, you could become an IT manager, director of IT operations, even a chief information officer, CIO.
Okay, so you could be the top dog.
You could be at the top.
What other options are there?
Another path is to specialize in a specific area of ICT change and configuration management.
Okay.
So, think about cloud migrations, cybersecurity, or DevOps.
Okay, so finding your niche?
Finding your niche and that specialized knowledge can make you highly sought after by employers.
Right, because you're the expert in that one area.
You are.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the importance of continuous learning.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, keeping those skills sharp.
Keep them sharp.
Okay.
Because, pursuing advanced certifications like ITIL Expert or Certified Change Management Professional, CCMP, can really boost your credibility.
Yeah.
And open doors to new opportunities.
Right, certifications are key.
They are.
So it's not just about landing the job.
Right.
It's about thinking long-term.
Long-term growth.
Investing in yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, I love that. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's get back to those interview questions.
Okay, back to the hot seat.
We've covered some tough ones, but there are always a few curveballs they might throw your way.
Oh, yeah. Always got to be ready for those curveballs.
All right, so let's tackle one that often catches candidates off guard.
Okay, lay it on me.
Tell me about a time you disagreed with a stakeholder about a proposed change. How did you handle the situation?
Oh, the classic conflict resolution scenario.
Right. It's bound to happen in this role.
It's gonna happen. So this question is really designed to assess your ability to navigate, complex situations and lead change effectively.
Okay.
They want to see that you can handle pushback gracefully.
Right.
And find ways to bring people on board.
So how do we approach this one? Because it feels like there could be so many different scenarios.
So start by setting the scene.
Okay.
Briefly describe the change that you were implementing and why it was met with resistance.
Okay.
Then walk them through your process.
Okay.
Did you engage with stakeholders early on to understand their concerns? Did you adjust your approach based on their feedback?
Okay.
Did you provide additional training or support to ease the transition? It's all about demonstrating your adaptability, your commitment to collaboration, and your ability to find creative solutions.
So being flexible and finding that win-win solution.
Yes, win-win is key.
Okay. What if they follow up with, what's your strategy for getting buy-in from stakeholders who are initially skeptical of a proposed change?
Oh, that's a great follow-up, because now they're looking for someone who's proactive and strategic about stakeholder management. So you can talk about the importance of early and frequent communication.
Right, keeping everyone in the loop.
In the loop, tailoring your message to each stakeholder group,
Okay.
addressing their concerns head on, and highlighting the benefits of the change in a way that resonates with them.
So it's like a marketing campaign for change.
It is. You got to sell it.
Okay, let's shift gears for a moment and revisit the topic of RoleCatcher's AI.
Okay.
We've talked about it throughout this whole, deep dive, but I'm curious to hear more about how it can help with answering these really complex interview questions.
Okay, so RoleCatcher's AI is a game changer when it comes to interview prep.
Yeah.
Imagine this. You're practicing your responses to these tricky questions, and the AI is analyzing your delivery,
Okay.
your word choices, even your tone of voice.
Wow.
And it's providing feedback on how to improve your communication
Okay.
and make a stronger impact on the interviewer.
So it's like having a personal interview coach,
It is!
but powered by AI.
Powered by AI cutting-edge tech.
That is so cool. And it goes beyond just analyzing your responses.
It does.
RoleCatcher's AI can also help you tailor your answers
Yeah.
to the specific job you're applying for.
Exactly. So it can analyze the job description,
Okay.
identify the key skills and experience they're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
and suggest ways to weave those elements into your responses.
So it's like having a cheat sheet, but way cooler.
Way cooler.
Yeah.
Personalized cheat sheet.
I love that.
Oh.
Okay, I think we've covered just about everything we need to know to ace this interview. Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
My final piece of advice would be to remember that the interview is a two-way street.
Okay.
It's not just about them evaluating you. It's also an opportunity for you to evaluate them.
Right.
So ask thoughtful questions.
Okay.
Get a sense of the company culture, and make sure it's the right fit for you.
That's a really great point. It's about finding a mutually beneficial partnership,
Exactly.
not just a job.
It's just a job.
And remember, confidence is key.
Yeah.
You've got the skills, the knowledge, and the passion to excel in this role.
Absolutely.
Believe in yourself. Let your enthusiasm shine through and go out there and rock that interview.
You got this. It is about people. You're going to be interacting with people from, all across the organization, from the tech teams all the way up to, business leaders.
Right. So you need to be able to communicate with everyone.
Absolutely. And that's essential for managing those inevitable conflicts.
Yeah, because conflicts will definitely come up.
Oh, yeah, because not everyone's going to agree with the changes that you're putting forward. Right. So what kind of questions will they ask to assess this?
Exactly.
Well, a pretty common one is, how do you manage conflicts and disagreements with stakeholders when you're trying to implement these changes
Okay.
to the IT infrastructure?
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a tough one because they want to see how you navigate those sensitive situations diplomatically,
Right.
how you find solutions that satisfy everyone involved.
Right. It's all about keeping the peace.
It is. You got to be a mediator, negotiator, peacemaker.
Wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, you do wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
So what's the key to answering this question effectively?
Well, I think it's important to emphasize your ability to listen actively,
Yes.
understand those different perspectives, and really push for that open communication.
Absolutely.
It's not about, forcing your will on anyone.
It's not about that at all.
It's about finding that collaborative solution.
Exactly. Finding that middle ground that works for everyone.
Right. And I think it's always helpful to have a concrete example.
Oh, always have an example in your back pocket.
Right. Think back to a time when you successfully, navigated a similar conflict. Highlight your approach and what the positive outcome was.
Exactly. Show them you're the one who gets things done.
Right. Problem solver, not a problem creator.
That's a good way to put it.
What if they follow up with something like, tell me about a time you had to say no to a stakeholder? How did you handle that?
Oh, that's a great follow-up question.
It is.
Because it shows that they're interested in your ability to set boundaries and manage expectations.
Right, because you can't say yes to everything.
You can't, and you shouldn't. So be prepared to share an example where you had to politely decline a request.
Okay.
And explain your reasoning clearly and respectfully.
Okay.
Maybe it was because it conflicted with existing priorities. Maybe there was a lack of resources. Maybe it was, a potential risk to the system's stability.
So you're kind of weighing the pros and cons and making that judgment call.
You're the decision maker. You're in charge.
Okay, so it's about saying no strategically and professionally.
Exactly.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about compliance.
Compliance. This is a big one.
It is, because it seems like a really critical aspect of this role,
Absolutely.
especially with all the regulations and standards, regarding data security and privacy.
It can be overwhelming
It can be.
keeping up with it all. So they might ask something like, how do you ensure that all changes to the IT infrastructure comply with these relevant regulations and standards?
Okay, so this is where you really got to show off your knowledge.
You got to bring your A game for this one.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that we should keep in mind when answering this?
Well, first and foremost,
Mm-hmm.
you need to showcase your knowledge of those industry-specific regulations and standards.
Yes. Make sure you're name dropping.
Right. So mention, frameworks like ITEL,
Yes.
which is the Information Technology Infrastructure Library.
Good one. Or
Yeah.
specific security standards like ISO 27001.
Yeah.
And then explain your process for staying up to date.
All right, because things change all the time.
All the time. So do you go to workshops? Do you subscribe to industry publications? Are you part of online communities?
Right. So really show them that you're, actively seeking out that information.
Exactly. Be proactive.
Be in the know.
In the know.
Okay, what if they follow up with, can you give me a specific example of a time you had to implement a change that, required these significant compliance considerations?
Okay, so this is your time to shine.
Yeah.
Share that specific example where you had to really navigate those complex compliance requirements.
Okay, so it could be something like a system upgrade.
It could be a system upgrade, maybe one that involved handling sensitive customer data,
Yeah.
or maybe you were implementing, new security protocols to meet those industry standards.
Okay.
Walk them through your process, show them how you did it,
Right.
how you ensured compliance every step of the way.
So really, dot your I's and cross your T's.
Dot those I's and cross those T's.
Yes.
Let's make it crystal clear.
All right, so far we've covered a lot of ground on the technical and the compliance aspects of this role.
A lot of ground.
But the RoleCatcher Career Guide also mentions some interesting career paths for ICT change and configuration managers.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of opportunity for growth.
So I'm kind of curious to hear more about, what people can expect in terms of career growth if they go down this path.
Okay, so ICT change and configuration management has fantastic opportunities for growth.
Okay.
One path you can take is to move into, those senior management roles within the IT department.
Okay.
So as you gain experience, you could become an IT manager,
Mm-hmm.
director of IT operations, or even a chief information officer, a CIO.
Wow, so the top dog.
The top dog, exactly.
Okay, what other options are there?
Another path is to specialize
Okay.
in a specific area of ICT change and configuration management.
Okay, so kind of like finding your niche.
Yeah, find that niche. Become the expert in cloud migration, cybersecurity, DevOps.
So you're like the go-to person for that specific thing?
Yeah. You are. And that kind of specialized knowledge makes you super valuable to employers.
Right, because you have that expertise.
Exactly.
Okay, and of course we can't forget about the importance of continuous learning.
No, never stop learning.
Never stop learning. Keep those skills sharp.
Keep them sharp. And
Yeah.
pursuing those advanced certifications, the ITIL expert, the Certified Change Management Professional, or CCMP,
Right.
those can really boost your credibility.
Yeah, certifications are huge.
They're huge, and they open doors to new opportunities.
Right, so it's about always striving to learn more.
Always be learning, always be growing.
Okay, I love that. So it's not just about, landing the job.
Right.
It's about thinking long-term.
Long-term growth, investing in your future.
Investing in yourself, exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, but before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
let's get back to those interview questions.
Back to the hot seat.
We've covered some really tough ones,
Yeah.
but there are always, a few curveballs they might throw your way.
Oh! Always be ready for the curveball.
All right, so let's tackle a question that often catches candidates off guard.
All right, hit me with it.
Tell me about a time you disagreed with a stakeholder about a proposed change. How did you handle that situation?
Ooh, that's a classic conflict resolution question.
It is, and it seems inevitable in a role like this.
It's going to come up.
Yeah.
It's designed to see how you navigate those complex situations, how
Yeah.
you lead change effectively. They want to see that you can handle pushback gracefully, that
Mhm.
you can, find ways to bring people on board even when they don't necessarily agree with you.
So how do we approach this one?
So start by setting the scene. Briefly describe, what that change was that you were implementing and why it was met with resistance.
Okay.
Then walk them through your process.
Okay.
Did you talk to the stakeholders early on to try and understand their concerns?
Okay.
Did you adjust your approach based on that feedback?
Mm-hmm.
Did you offer additional training or support to ease that transition?
Okay, so show them that you're willing to adapt.
So exactly. Show that adaptability, your commitment to collaboration, and your ability to find creative solutions.
Right, so it's about finding that win-win solution.
Win-win, that's the key.
What if they follow up with something like, what's your strategy for getting buy-in from stakeholders who are initially skeptical of a proposed change?
Ooh, I like that follow-up.
Yeah.
Because it really shows that they're looking for someone who's proactive and strategic
Okay.
when it comes to stakeholder management.
So you're always thinking ahead.
Always thinking a few steps ahead. So you can talk about, the importance of communication,
Right.
early and frequent communication.
Keeping everyone in the loop.
Exactly, keeping them in the loop,
Okay.
tailoring your message to each stakeholder group,
Yeah.
addressing their concerns directly,
Mm-hmm.
and highlighting the benefits of that change in a way that, really resonates with them.
Right, so you kind of got to sell it.
You got to sell it.
It's like a marketing campaign.
It is. You're marketing this change.
Okay, I love that. Let's shift gears for a moment and kind of revisit the topic of RoleCatcher's AI.
Okay.
We've talked about it throughout this deep dive.
We have.
But I'm curious to hear more about, how it can help with answering these really complex interview questions.
Okay, so RoleCatcher's AI is a game changer when it comes to interview prep.
Okay.
Imagine this. You're practicing your responses to these tricky questions.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI is analyzing everything.
Okay.
Your delivery,
Yeah.
your word choices, even your tone of voice.
Oh, wow.
And it's giving you feedback on
Yeah.
how to make those answers stronger.
So it's like having, that personal coach,
It is.
but it's AI powered.
AI powered. That's the future of coaching.
That is so cool. And it goes beyond just, analyzing your responses.
It does.
RoleCatcher's AI can also help you tailor your answers to the specific job you're going for.
That's right. It can analyze the job description,
Okay.
identify what they're looking for in terms of skills and experience,
Mhm.
and then suggest ways to weave those elements into your responses.
So it's really about highlighting your most relevant skills
Exactly.
and experience in a way that, perfectly matches the employer's needs.
It's a matchmaker.
It is. It's a digital matchmaker.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, I think we've covered just about everything we need to know
I think so too.
to ace this interview.
Yeah.
Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
My final piece of advice is this.
Okay.
Remember that the interview is a two-way street.
Okay.
It's not just about them evaluating you.
Right.
It's also an opportunity for you to evaluate them.
It's a great point.
Ask thoughtful questions, get a feel for the company culture,
Right.
make sure that it's the right fit for you.
Because it's about finding that, mutually beneficial partnership,
It is. It's about finding the right fit,
not just a job.
not just a job. And remember, confidence is key.
Confidence is key.
You've got the skills, the knowledge, and the passion to succeed.
Absolutely.
Believe in yourself. Let that enthusiasm shine through
Yes.
and go out there and rock that interview.
You got this. Okay, so we're back and ready to tackle those final interview questions.
Let's do it. It's time to seal the deal.
All right, let's talk about a question that I think could really, throw candidates off balance.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
Tell me about a time you had to implement a change that was met with resistance. How did you overcome that resistance and ensure, that successful implementation?
Ooh, that is a good one.
Right, because this feels like it's a combination of, communication, problem-solving, stakeholder management.
It is. It's like the ultimate test.
A little bit of diplomacy, maybe?
Yeah, you got to wear all the hats for this one.
So how do we even approach this question? Because it feels like, the scenarios could be so varied.
Right. So let's break it down. Start by setting the scene. Briefly describe the change you were implementing and why people were pushing back against it.
Okay.
Then walk them through your process.
Okay.
Did you engage with stakeholders early on to really understand their concerns?
Okay.
Did you adjust your approach based on their feedback?
Okay.
Did you provide any extra training or support to kind of ease the transition?
So really showing them that you're willing to adapt.
You got to be adaptable. You're
Yeah.
demonstrating that commitment to collaboration, that ability to find those creative solutions.
So it's about being flexible.
Flexibility is key and finding those win-win solutions.
Right. What if they follow up with something like, what's your strategy for getting buy-in from stakeholders who are initially skeptical, of a proposed change?
That's a great follow-up because it shows they're looking for someone who's proactive,
Okay.
strategic about managing those stakeholders.
Right.
You got to be thinking a few steps ahead so you can talk about the importance of communication, early and frequent communication.
Right.
Tailoring that message to each specific stakeholder group,
Cool.
addressing their concerns head on, and really highlighting the benefits of the change in a way that resonates with them.
So again, you got to sell it.
You got to sell it. It's like a marketing campaign for change.
Okay, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about RoleCatcher's AI one last time.
One last time.
We've talked about it a lot throughout this whole deep dive.
We have.
But I'm curious to hear more about how it can help with, answering these complex interview questions.
Okay, so RoleCatcher's AI is amazing for interview prep.
Okay.
Imagine this. You're practicing your answers to these tricky questions, and the AI is analyzing your delivery, your word choices,
Okay.
even your tone of voice, giving you feedback on how to make those answers stronger.
That's crazy.
It's like having a personal interview coach.
It is, but it's powered by AI.
It's like AI coaching. That's the future.
That is so cool. And it goes even beyond, just analyzing your responses.
It does.
RoleCatcher's AI can also help you tailor your answers to the specific job you're going for.
Exactly. So it can look at that job description, figure out exactly what they're looking for in terms of skills and experience, and then suggest ways to, really weave those elements into your answers.
So it's like having a cheat sheet, but way cooler.
Way cooler. It's a personalized cheat sheet generated by AI.
Okay. I think we've covered just about everything.
I think we've covered a lot.
That you need to know to really ace this interview.
Yeah.
Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
My last piece of advice would be to remember that the interview is a two-way street.
That's a great point.
It's not just about them evaluating you.
Right.
It's also your chance to evaluate them. So ask some good questions, get a sense of the company culture, and make sure it's the right fit.
Because you want to make sure it's a good fit for both of you.
Exactly. It's all about finding that mutually beneficial partnership.
Right. It's not just about taking any job.
It's not about that. And most importantly, remember, confidence is key.
Confidence is key.
You've got the skills, the knowledge, the passion to excel in this role. So believe in yourself. Let that enthusiasm shine through.
Yes.
And go out there and rock that interview.
This has been an amazing deep dive.
It has been.
Into the world of ICT change and configuration management.
So much to unpack.
We've explored, the ins and outs of the role. We tackled those tricky interview questions.
We did.
And we even, discovered the power of RoleCatcher's AI.
It's a game changer.
It is.
Really is.
So to our listener, we wish you the best of luck in your job search.
Good luck.
Remember, preparation is key.
Absolutely.
And with the right tools and that positive mindset, you can achieve anything you set your mind to.